back in spring. And we also have Children's Alley, which is for ages 0 to 12. Although I'm sure a lot of the older kids like me like to go and get your face painted and see the costume characters and things. So there's a little bit for everybody. There's food trucks. It's a really great experience all on downtown Miami. Miami-Dade College's Wolfson campus.
And so
Oh,
how much, obviously a lot of planning goes into the book fair and you do have events all year round, but for the book fair that starts on November 13th, are you guys just planning constantly all year round for this one week? Like how does it work? Because I've seen the list of events and it's so much and I just wonder like how long does it take to put together?
So the very short answer is that we get, book fair is always the weekend right before Thanksgiving, and then we get to rest during Thanksgiving weekend, and then we're already planning for the next year, even as we're wrapping up. So it is really a full year of planning with all hands on deck. But I mean, we are also, even before the fair, we're already thinking of things that we can do for the next year and the years to come. We plan weeks, days, months in advance, but also years kind of behind the scenes.
Oh,
And next
wow.
year is our 40th anniversary year, so it's going to be really special. So that's one of the reasons, especially for next year, that we're planning really far in advance.
that's incredible. I can't believe it takes so long, so much work. So thank you so much for putting this together. We really are so lucky to have a book fair in Miami. So let's start talking about some things that we are looking forward to. Do you want to start, Marci, telling us what is the thing you are most looking forward to? What author event at this year Miami Book Fair?
Oh, that's like asking if I have a favorite, like if someone has a favorite child or like you have a favorite song, it changes every week. It's hard to pick out of 500, but I'll give categories. Okay. So, some of my favorites are we have an evenings with premiere section of it's our evening sessions. They go from Sunday to Friday, and then our main weekend with panels and everything. I will say we have some really incredible heavy hitters, and tickets just went on sale on Monday. So get your tickets early. But we do have Patti Smith coming. She's on Friday. She's a huge deal in not only the music scene, but of course, literary scene. She's one of those incredible crossover folks. She always sells out. I'm all like diehard fans. John Waters is also coming with a novel that's
Oh,
really
wow.
exciting. I know, right? And
I did not see that one. That's amazing.
yeah, so as soon as we get off of this, you should also get your own tickets too. And we also have on the Spanish side, we have this incredible musician Juanes, which I wasn't as familiar with because I'm not very good with Spanish, but our Spanish team has put together an incredible team, and that's how they're kicking off the fair this year on that side. I'm a poet at heart. We have a lot of great poetry. We have our 24th U.S. Poet Laureate. She'll be doing a virtual presentation with us, Ada Limon. She's the first Latinx woman to be in the position. And she's giving a talk with the Library of Congress, which is the organization that sponsors the U.S. Poet Laureateship. And I would say maybe an event that's not specific to a book, but we do have this incredible highlight event that will kind of start Saturday morning at 10:30 on November 19th. The National Book Awards is this uh, a really wonderful award group list. I'm not sure how you call it, where in every genre, fiction, nonfiction, poetry, young people's literature, and even translated literature from all over the world, where they put out a long list every fall for 10 books that the committees have said are like their favorites and the best books of the year. And then they go down to a short list of 5 books, and then they choose a winner. But we are fortunate that much of the long list is coming. And so for that event,
Oh, wow.
it'll be basically like a heavy hitters of 2022 books in all genres. And that's always one of the most fun events for me because you get a little bit of everything, and I get to discover books I would never maybe hear about or even think to read myself. So those are some of the highlights, and you can tell there's so much that it's
Yeah,
really hard to pick.
I
there is
know it's
so much.
That's why we're happy to share some of the events that we are looking forward to in just a little bit. But we would also love to hear of the audience who have joined us. What genres are you guys, what kind of books do you guys like to read? So that maybe Marci can give us some recommendations. We already got a question from Aymara asking, what events do you recommend for food lovers?
For
Oh, that's a good
food
one.
lovers. Oh, that's an excellent question. Let me think about this. Okay, so it's a little bit out of the box. And this is, I'm going to answer your question on a slant, kind of. There is I'm Korean. There's a young adult book that an author is coming. Her name is Claire On, and her book is called I Guess I Live Here Now. And it's about a Korean American who goes to, her parents send her back to Korea to live with her family. And it is not a food book per se, but the descriptions of food just make your mouth water and make you really just want to eat everything that you see in K-dramas and movies and things like that. And so that is a slant one that I would definitely mention. Um, we we are no longer offering the cookbook sections that we usually do, but we do have a lot of others. We have some. I'm thinking about, what is that book? It is a book that's talking um, about food also. It's like very specific. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. My brain needs to work
Okay.
a little bit. I'm
We
going through
have
all the
some
500 authors.
people who are very interested in that book in the comments. And Christine is asking if you could say the name of the book again.
Yes, it's called I Guess I Live Here Now by Claire On. And it's a young adult book. I think she's presenting on Saturday also in person.
Wonderful. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. I just want to thank Eat Naked Farmer for buying a badge. I really appreciate your support. And we do have a couple of more submissions of genres. Steph is asking about poetry, and Christine is asking about fiction mystery. Okay, all yours, Yusuf.
No, go ahead if we can get some recommendations on poetry and what was the other one?
Mystery.
Fiction mystery. That's a good one. Do you have any recommendations for those?
Yes, absolutely. So for virtual poetry, what I can say too is that in addition to, I know I mentioned the U.S. Poet Laureate, which will be virtual, but we have Sharon Olds and Sandra Cisneros. They're both doing their own readings and conversations. I know that Sandra Cisneros' book also is the first poetry book in 20 years that she's had. She's written a lot of other books, but
Oh,
this
wow.
will be her return to poetry. It's called Woman Without Shame. And there is actually also a Spanish version being published at the same time, so people can get either English or Spanish. Sharon Olds was actually shortlisted for the National Book Awards this year for poetry, and her book is called Ballads with a Z. So she's being a little edgy with this book, which covers the last few years of going through the pandemic, but also like she's very incredible about writing about her personal life with abandon. And those are two that I would recommend for virtual. For in person too, we have Roger Reeves, who's a really incredible, very cerebral poet. His book is called Best Barbarian. And we have the Poet Laureate of Jamaica also, Olive Senior. She has a book called Hurricane Watch. It's a selected collection. And so she's going to be in a conversation with Gianna Rousseau, who is the wordsmith of Tampa, which is their version of poet laureate in that area, and then Richard Blanco, who's Miami-Dade County's poet laureate. So it'll be a conversation about their newest books of poems, how poetry can work in the community, and their roles as poets in service to the community. So I would definitely shout out those. And then for mysteries and thrillers and fiction, okay. So we do have Brad Meltzer. He's presenting his newest book, The Lightning Rod. It is more of a thriller than a mystery, I think. And I'm just going to rattle off a few. So we've got a book by Leah Sotil called When the Moon Turns to Blood. Lori Vallow Chad Daybell, and A Story of Murder, Wild Faith, and End Times. So it's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of thriller. Jeff Lindsay, who is also a well-known mystery thriller writer, is also going to be presenting his newest novel, Three-Edged Sword. And Anthony Horowitz is also coming with a mystery called The Twist of a Knife. So several options to choose from for folks in
Yes.
both of those genres.
It sounds like there is a lot to choose from in every genre. I know that the week is full of events for all different types of genres, but it's just so great to see that every genre has so many options for different authors or books or even different tastes within the genre that you can choose to go see.
Yeah.
That's
I'm curious, you
amazing.
said, what are your favorites? You said that you all have some favorites that you're looking forward to.
It just so happens that for me, my most anticipated events that I'm looking forward to are all happening on the 20th. um,
Ooh.
which is good in the sense that I can go and spend the whole day, which will be nice. So I'm really looking forward to Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I love her books. I love her I love her writing and just every single thing that she does. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to her event. I'm also really looking forward to Angie Cruz, who has a new book out. Um, How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water. I'm very excited about that. Um, Also excited for E. Lockhart, who, I mean, really popular. I guess is it considered YA? I guess it is. We
Yeah,
Are
she's
Liars.
like a crossover.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
with
go
the
with
new
that.
adult. We're all young at heart.
We're all young at heart, but love it. I'm really excited for that event. And also Callie Fajardo Enstein. I'm butchering her name. But of Women in Light, I'm so excited for that event as well. And I think, no bias, but I think Saturday the 20th is going to be a great day.
I
Yeah.
agree. I had my Silvia Moreno Garcia panel on my to-do list. So it was funny. Yeah, no, November the 20th, you guys have to mark that on your calendar because that is definitely a great day to go to the fair. Other ones that I was looking forward to is Kevin Nealon because I love comedy and he's been on SNL and he's just hilarious. So if you're into comedy, you definitely want to check out Kevin Nealon talk. And I also had Patti Smith because if you love music and punk and rock, then you're going to want to check out Patti Smith. Those were all on my list. Did we have any? I saw a recommendation go by from Yvette. She says she recommends Oscar Hokath's book, Calling for a Blanket Dance. And he'll be at the book fair. I'm not sure what day he's going to be there. I wanted to share the dates of Kevin Nealon and Patti Smith. I had it all in this beautiful graphic. I will share it in the stories with links. Which reminds me, Marci, where can people get tickets to the book fair?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. So this is actually perfect timing. So the general tickets are on sale. You can get your street fair tickets. So the way that it works is that you buy one ticket to access the street fair, and then the author presentations are in the buildings. So once you get in, you have access to any panel that you like and the whole street fair, Children's Alley. And you can find all of that at miamibookfair.com. Let me see if I can drop this in the chat for people. So I will say that if you purchase online in advance of the fair, you can save a couple dollars. And if
Oh,
you
that's
buy
good.
days for like the 2-day ticket, I highly recommend. So a single ticket for an adult is $8 if you purchase it online. If you buy both tickets for both Saturday and Sunday at once, you know that you're just going to come Saturday and Sunday and spend that whole weekend with us at the fair and trying not to buy too many books. It's $15 combined. So again, you're saving a little bit of money. And for kids 12 and under are always free. If your age is
Mm.
13 to 18 and you're a teenager, then it's $8 for both days. So it's $4 per day. Or if you're over 62, they will be checking ID because they don't want to assume anything or insult anyone. If you wait to purchase on site at the street fair entrances, then it goes up from $8 to $10 for an adult. and $5 instead of $4 for teenagers and over 62. Again, 12 and under is still free. I will say that if you're like, oh, live authors are not my jam, I just want to enjoy the street fair, buy some arepas and listen to some live music and explore the Children's Alley. Friday is a free admission day, so there are no author presentations except for a kids field trip day that we do with the local schools. But the street fair is fully open, and the Children's Alley is also operational with all the activity tents and stuff. So if you want to, skip work and school and enjoy your day at the fair, then that's a day for free. If you are a college student at Miami-Dade College, a faculty or a staff member, bring your NBC ID and you get in for free, no matter what age you are. So that's the street fair. And then for the special premiere evenings with tickets, that's also at miamibookfair.com/tickets. And you can purchase one or more. Many of those events will come, they look a little pricier, but they have the book included in the ticket cost. And if you want to make it a date night, bring a plus one, you can purchase a second general admission for $15, and then you can share the book. If you don't, but who wouldn't want more books? That's just what I say. But
I do love sharing a book, though.
It's true. Make a book club,
Yes.
Exactly. Share the love, trade books. I always love that. That's all great. We did have a comment from Aymara again asking if there's a day that you recommend, especially for kids.
Ooh, that's hard to say. I would say that if you have really, really little elementary school age kids, if you want to see an author, on Saturday only we have Sadia Faruqi and Renee Watson. They're presenting 2 books for like 3rd through 5th grade. But the Children's Alley is open both days, and the activity tents are the same. And the activities, they do give away free books if you go to all the activity tents and get your bookmark stamps. So just a heads up on that.
Good tip.
So I would say both days for kids. It really, if you have a reader or even a reluctant reader, then it might depend on the actual author that you might want to see. But I would say, so for example, we have a horror young adult panel that's only on Saturday. It has Tiffany D. Jackson, it has Ryan LaSala, Sarah Farazan, and Lamar Giles. And that one, all their books are a little spooky, a little horror. It's a little past Halloween, but who doesn't love to be scared throughout? So that's very specific to Saturday. And then of course, Elockhart is on Sunday. We have a comic book middle grade panel on Sunday. So if you're more like the comic book geek, then you might pick Sunday. But it's really hard to choose. So it really depends on the reader.
That's all amazing info.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, it just sounds like there's so much for everybody, whether you have, younger kids or middle grade kids, or if you're just an adult that loves books and wants to go to the book fair. There's a little bit of everything for everyone. So thank you for that detailed explanation and explaining the tickets so that people know exactly how to get the best deal.
Yes. I always say that the challenge is like we offer so many different types of books that I always challenge people. I dare you to find a book in your catalog that you would like, right? Like I guarantee that if you like any kind of books, we probably have them. So no one can say like, oh, Miami Book Fair doesn't get my kind of reading, I can almost guarantee you that we've got something. So you're always welcome to peruse. We do have the fair guide, which is downloadable as a PDF online. So again, go to miamibookfair.com. You can also follow us at Miami Book Fair on any of the social media platforms, and we'll keep posting stuff. You can ask us questions and, slide into our DMs. You can also ask any of call our main office and you're like, I want a book. What do I look for? What do I ask for? I've been vetoed every year to be like the book hotline. They're like, you have too much to do, Marci, but I would love to just sit there and be a recommender of books of all of the authors coming to the fair.
That's so funny because you just ran a hotline right now for us.
You did.
Isn't the most fun I've had
Yes.
all day.
No, this has been invaluable information for myself, for everybody listening.
I have. I'm so glad I'm going to share this as an actual post. So, because so many books and authors went by that we can go back and revisit and find other things that we want to check out.
Yeah.
But I did want to mention, you mentioned that the Miami Book Fair guide is available. I actually put a link in my Instagram links. So if you click on my profile on my link, you'll see a link to the Miami Book Fair guide PDF, and you'll also find a link to tickets. So if you guys want to check that out, that's awesome. And I think we have just time for one more question. I did notice there's a couple of authors here
Yes.
who joined us. If you can give them some advice on how they can apply or for next year or to be considered, if you could let us know.
Absolutely. Hello, authors. Thank you for your art. So we have two different ways that people can participate in the Miami Book Fair programming every year. So in about March, give us a little bit of leeway for next year. In March, we will update our guidelines for submitting to the 2023 Miami Book Fair. Again, it's always the weekend before Thanksgiving, so you can already save the date for next year. It is a rigorous process. It's incredibly competitive. We do have a lot of space for authors, but we also have to sadly turn down a lot of really incredible people. So don't take rejection personally. We are grateful for your work. It goes through a process with the author selection committee, and we do take, as I mentioned, books in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. So there are guidelines and we update them. They may change from year to year. The submission deadline every year is usually the end of May. So just keep that in mind. It's March through May. There is another way too. We have on the street fair what we call Writer's Row. And that is where you as an author can actually rent a booth for either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or the whole weekend. And if you don't want to present in the thing, you want to be like where it all happens with the crowds free flowing through the streets. That's an area. It's actually scattered all over the street fair map, and so you can work with our coordinators that way if you'd rather do it that way, and that's for all ages as well.
That is amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for the info, Marci. Giselle, do you have any other questions or anything before we wrap up?
No, I'm just really excited. I mean, you've made me even more excited for the book fair, just listening to all of the genres and all of the authors that even I may have missed looking at the guide because there's so much on there. And I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yay, me too. Thank both of you so much for joining us tonight. I love talking books. We should get together again and then we can have a little more time because I wanted to ask people to share their favorite moment with when they met an author or like just book recommendations and stuff. So we should get together and talk about
Yes.
books.
Let's do it. I'm always up for it. And any of our book fair team is always up for it. And we'll definitely hope to see you there. I know that we're going to see you on Sunday, both of you, but let's hope that we get to see some of you too. And thank you all for supporting and reading, because honestly, we love the book fair, but it wouldn't make sense without readers like you. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone who joined us tonight. Have a good night, fellow book lovers. Bye, everyone.